All right. Well, I would like to thank you all. I'm not ending. I know that might have sounded like an end. I do want to thank you all who are here and off. Talking about art and IT and all the things that you're doing, all these ideas, sharing the. No, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. Hang in there. We have one more character to create, oh sheeps. We have one more Warlock to make. I'm not leaving until we make this Warlock. No. You may have heart palpitations, but simmer down now. Simmer down now. I want to thank everyone for being here, for helping with our first Warlock, and of course, there are 50 empty capsules right here that have been lovingly reassembled and are waiting for 50 more prizes, and consisting of all kinds of things. Boop, boop, boop. No, I'm not ending. Yep, Sire will accept commissions on Monday. Let's see. I think everything is copacetic. I have a remainder of this extra frosty black cherry generic store brand soda. No caffeine because I don't want to be like this time of night. And why don't we make our other Warlock with the Lurker in the Deep patron? You're absolutely correct, Shukan. This stuff is amazing. And at 57 cents for a liter, no sodium, no calories. It tastes fantastic. Ugh. I'm shilling for a generic store brand. Yeah, they're 57 cents here. Yeah, we don't even have a bottle deposit. So, I don't know. It is what it is. No bottle deposit here. So what I have to do, I have to travel to Shukan's Walmart and load up on the stuff. And that 5-cent savings, we're talking volume, okay? That we make our money in volume, but we drive to Shukan's Walmart, save 5 cents a piece, come back here. Oh, Sheeps has them for 49 cents. All right, so Shukan, I guess you and I are driving down to Oh Sheeps Walmart. Now we're talking volume. What you should do is move, as you can recycle the bottles for 10 cents. Well, yeah, that's the whole scheme, right? You load up your car with a bunch of these bottles, and you drive them over the state border, and you drop them off, and then you come back home with the cash. But we're talking volume. So we have our character creator open, and we're going to roll for a couple things. 91. Hey, everyone. Oh, my. We seem to have a multi-class character. And so I would like to ask you this. Tomorrow was going to be a guaranteed multi-class character if we didn't get one. Now we did. And so what I want to ask you is, should we make a multi-class character that is multi-classed this Sorcerer and this Warlock? Or should we stick to the Warlock but randomly roll the other class, like a fighter or a wizard or something? Shukan wants a Sorcerer. And if we go Sorcerer, an Unearthed Arcana Sorlock? Well, so Cold Spark and Shukan want to split this to make an Unearthed Arcana mega subclass. You don't even have a book. Oh, so you're auditing the class, oh sheeps. All right, I see 3 for Sorcerer. So let's roll this, and 73. We have a male multiclassed Sorcerer Warlock. The race is going to be, let's roll a d10, reroll a 10. We got a 6, a Half-Orc. Now, if we do the Matty Morgs edition, it doesn't actually add, sub-races. But this does add in a consideration where we roll odds or evens to find out, do the half-races seem to favor one side over the other? And that could be culturally. That could be genetically. Pardon me. You could have a half-orc that favors their human side and appears... maybe except for some enlarged teeth or like a different like skull structure or some slightly like some bone structure, may appear very human with slight orc traces, or the other way around. Or you have a traditional half-orc, gray or greenish skin, and just favors their orcish heritage. And so despite being half-orc, half-human, we have someone who is genetically this, but just makes the conscientious, application of their behavior, language, and such as an orc. And so what we'll do is we're going to roll the d10 and find out the preference. He favors his human descent. And now we're going to roll percentile for the 58. We have another chaotic neutral character. All right, so we have a male half-orc. Favors human. They are medium-sized. We're making a chaotic neutral character. Class and level. Now, so this is going to be primarily... So it's either going to be half and half, or the majority of the levels are Warlock, and the minority levels are going to be Sorcerer. So we're still featuring, like, the dominance of this class that we're exploring. So, Warlock, Sorcerer. And this is going to be Aberrant Mind, and the Sorcerer is... Aberrant Mind is Sorcerer. And the Warlock is Lurker. We'll determine the level split a little bit later. Now let's determine, are we replacing our ability score improvements with feats? Nope. We're taking the stat bumps as we get them. Between the two classes, we're going to generate an 18th level character. And now, what about the background of the character? Let's roll an 18-sided die and find out. 14. Another sage. Interesting. Another sage. Now let's roll 1d8. It would be super uncanny if we have another astronomer, huh? 1d8. We rolled an 8. I don't know what 8 is, but that is the background for the character. Sage... Number 8. Almost like Mambo number 9. Now, while we're here, I'm going to roll 2 personality traits. And then an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. So we have 7, 1, 2, 1, 2. Whoops. There we go. The Matty Morg's official edition, says Hypnotic. What does it have to be, half human? It doesn't have to. By default, we tend to think that way, and so... or at least it's heavily implied in the PHB. So to stick to it, that's how I divided it. But it is a good point. In my Tomb of Annihilation game, I have folks who are not half human, half whatever. In fact, Mordecai is a tiefling mechanically, but Coffee Cat's character Mordecai in the Tuesday game is half human, half tiefling. So, there's that. So we already have our classes and our subclasses. We're going to make an Ultra Unearthed Arcana figure here. So our class features then. We are going to determine which pact this character is going to take with the patron. Let's generate a 3-sided die and roll it. A blade pact. Interesting. We have a soldier with a tome and a sage with a weapon. Okay. And we rolled that we are a half-orc. And so let's get their stats here. Half-elf, half-orc. Here we go. Now, how old is this character? Let's determine. I'm going to roll a percentile and find out where in his life cycle he is. 4. We have a child prodigy half-orc. So we have a youngin. And so a child, so someone who would be the equivalent of a human of, think like about 10 to 15, kind of like, between a Pokemon trainer and young protagonists in anime. In Orcish, because their bodies develop more quickly, we're going to see a lower number. Just like a 2-year-old Dragonborn has the capabilities of a 10-year-old human. Child prodigy, so we are a 4 plus 1d5 years. So there's a 5, and we're going to add 4 to that with the modifier. We are a 9-year-old half-orc. Child prodigy, 9. Hey, Maddie, what would you do with all the characters you had so far throughout the weeks? I keep them in files. I can't say that the files, or rather the characters that we made around the story for the Tuesday game have shown up in that story. They've made direct contact with the party or cameos. The rest of the characters, I haven't done anything explicit with them. But they're available, and they're even available for all of you on our Discord. You can download them. Could be patrons giving what they think the characters need for pact types. Maybe, yeah, to maybe supplement to supplement something. Like a shortcoming to help complete them. All right, so we're a 9-year-old child prodigy half-orc. Now, this is for adults. We could probably modify this and say that our height modifier, instead of being 2d10 inches, or our base height is this, we might go and say maybe 4'8" and 1d10. Why not? We're gonna start at 4'8" and add 1d10. 10 inches. So we are 5'6" at 9 years old. Because our orcish blood, I mean, we favor our human self in some capacity, or our non-orc self. But we have definitely been drinking our milk, everyone. Now the weight modifier, so we have 10. Let's multiply this by 1d6. This is kind of arbitrary, but let's feel it out, right? We have a child. By 6. So we have a 200-pound. Maybe we could lower that a little bit, if not base 140. Maybe let's say 160. Still, though, I mean that's Kid Hercules. I don't know if you've seen that. Kid Hercules. was making the rounds in the news for a while. Not super recently. Ooh, this boy's been eating his Wheaties. All right. So we have his basic outline, and we're ready to explore the background of the character. And I want to do that first. Because it's all pure muscle weight, just like your youngest cat. Yeah, so it's a stacked cat, kind of walks like a bulldog. Oh, yeah. Oh, the muscles. So get your player's handbooks open, everyone. The background is also going to... The mechanics, yes, in the background can also help us determine how did a character get to be like this. 5'2" isn't tremendously short, Hypnotic Gamer. Personality and background, let's go to Sage. It'd be interesting if this character studied with our halfling character. That would be very interesting. And that could be the case because 8 is a scribe. We've definitely worked for someone. Oh, your mom's 4'11". Oh, okay. Well, see, so there you go. You've at least you've surpassed. Well, I feel like I might step on some of y'all if we ever meet up. Like, I don't want to squish you. I'm a gentle giant, I promise. Let's scoot this over just a bit so we can read what we're getting. For being a sage, Arcana and History are going to be our proficiencies. We get 2 languages of our choice, so we'll know Common, Orcish, and then 2 others. Equipment, we're going to have a bottle of black ink. We are going to have a quill. And just as we did for our other sage, a special kniff. Like a letter opener, maybe just something. Maybe your DM says, nah, it's just a little pocket knife. It might deal 1 point of damage static. Or you could treat it as a dagger. Well, for consistency's sake, we'll treat it like a dagger. A letter from a dead colleague posing a question to you you have not been able to answer. Again, there's a lot of really sad sages out there if this is specifically the thing that happens every single time. What we did with our other sage is they received some kind of a trinket that is creating a question or it's a focus of their research. So trinket research number something or another. Alright, a set of common clothes and a belt pouch. Common clothes. Belt pouch. With 10 gapuz in it. Our specialty is that we're a scribe. We're very good at writing. Maybe even drawing. Doodling and such. But we're a scribe. A gentle giant. I've never seen giants gentle because they're so heavy. Archie Magpie, Australia. Good day, guys. Well, I suppose it'd be a good evening to you, right? It's probably about 6 p.m. around your time, yes? It's 4 a.m. here. Woo. But yes, welcome, Archie Magpie. We're just getting going in our Unearthed Arcana character, and we ended up randomly rolling. There's a 10% chance. We randomly rolled into doing a multi-class, and so we're actually going to fuse. We're going to do the fusion dance with the new Warlock playtest and the new Sorcerer playtest. It's 5:30. Gotcha. Oh, you're in one of oh, those are fascinating. The half time zones, the half hour time zones. And Civil Hermit's here. Hey, Civil. Suggestion, this was a human child who was a victim of a terrible ritual that infused him with his orcishness among other eldritch influences. Ah, all right, Civil. Okay. Keep that in mind so it doesn't drop out of my brain. Well, don't worry, Hypnotic. I am a gentle soul. Now, our background feature is Researcher. I don't want to spend a ton of time reading this because it's in the player's handbook. You should be able to do it on your own. However, as a Researcher, you can, if you find knowledge more easily. And if you don't have it, you know where to get it. And if you don't know where to get it, you know who to ask to try and find it. It's very solid support. Very solid. Now, as we're starting with the background, which I love doing because we actually get to find out who this character is. You played your first few games of D&D today? Oh, so you're a newcomer to D&D? Archie, that is awesome. Would you like to share a little bit about how you got into the hobby or what happened in your first game? Try to cut it short, but I need to go to sleep as I didn't get enough last night. Yeah, Hypnotic. Thank you for hanging out. You got some awesome polls. I'm going to list them all, and then if you want to have me set any aside to ship to your fiance instead, let me know, okay? But have a good sleep, Hypnotic, and I'll see you around the community, I'm sure. Our first personality trait is number 7. I am horribly, horribly awkward in social situations. And you know what? Our first scribe of the party was the same way. We have 2 wallflowers, and very much this might be lining up that this kid is an assistant to our first sage. Which, in her own right, she's a prodigy herself, because she's only 20 years old. A 20-year-old halfling, I believe she was. It writes itself, oh sheeps. It writes itself. Iwi. Oh, whoa? Ooh, woo. Iwi. And his other personality trait is, I use polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. I am horribly, horribly awkward in social situations, and I use polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. A Hubba Wood edition? So I got into it from one of my friends who taught me all of the basics, and my first game I played was a barbarian, I think, and I fought an awakened shrub, and you won. Ah. Alright. Now, what awakened the shrub? Did you get to explore that? Or was it just sort of you're walking and a shrub attacked you out of nowhere? Yeah, uses big words. So we have this little kid who walks around using big words as often as he can. Doesn't mean he's always right in the pronunciation. But he tries. Bless his heart, he tries. His ideal is, too, beauty. What is beautiful points us beyond itself toward what is true. Inconceivable! Exactly, O'Sheeps. What is beautiful points us beyond itself toward what is true. You woke up in a forest and saw a colored figure. This character's bond to the world is number 1. It is my duty to protect my students. Well. So either this kid is Neggy Springfield from Negima, or shoot, what's the other? There's another anime that has a, I don't know. She's like 10 or 12, but graduated from MIT and is a professor. It's not Nichijou. It's still kind of a slice of life anime that's random. Oh, shoot. What's the name of it? She has blonde pigtails, I think. I'm glad that you had a lot of fun, Archie. You have entered into a wonderful and fun hobby, and something that you can enjoy with friends and family for years to come, with amazing stories to experience along the way. He thinks he's a teacher is more what... Yeah, okay, so maybe he thinks that he should be the teacher. I should be the one in charge. I use the big words. Azumanga Daioh, it's like Azumanga, because I know you're thinking of Chio-chan. But it's not Azumanga Daioh that I'm thinking of. But that does have the high schooler, like the 10-year-old high schooler. No, it's this is bugging me. It's not Nichijou. It's a slice of life anime that's not also Negima, that has like a young, like super smart professor teaching, I think, a high school science class. She goes around wearing a white lab coat, and I think she has kind of long blonde ponytails. Anyway, it'll strike me at some random point in time. This person, it's my duty to protect my students. And thank you for the follow, Archie Magpie. And what is our character's flaw? He might think it's nothing, but we know better than he does, huh? Most people scream and run when they see a demon. I stop and take notes on its anatomy. Oh, impressive wingspan. We really got to get going. Oh, hold on. 3 toes. Okay, and... This might explain... This flaw might explain why he has been possessed by an abyssal creature. I wouldn't say it's recent. It's probably 10-ish years old. 10 plus years old. Yeah, Cold Spark, that's probably how he met the patron. He walked in on the other sage, like taking notes, as she was communicating with the patron. And then it's like, oh, what are you? Scribble, and then... Possession. This is gonna be such a... A very fascinating, interesting character. Oh my gosh. Alright, so... you want to play a Dragonborn? What are your best options as far as class? Yeah, the other sage was a sorcerer, Coldspark. Obi-Bob Kenobi, it is difficult to build a bad character in 5th edition. Your Dragonborn can play whatever you want it to play, and it can still be good at it. It really, if you have a favorite character from history or fiction, comics or movies, whether they're a Dragonborn or not, play to that character archetype. Dragonborn have racial stats in charisma and strength. So that could lend you towards classes that favor those. But because in 5th edition you have a natural cap of 20 to those stats, you actually can hit those stats rather easily and soon. And so, to that end, yeah, maybe if you felt like you had to max out, but honestly, you don't even need to max your stats, your main stat. in 5th edition. Unless whoever's running for you says you have to be optimized. You have to min-max everything for this session because we're going to be just randomly we're going to roll dice and we need the highest numbers possible. If that's the case, then yes, optimize your Dragonborn. Honestly, though, for whatever, 95% of other D&D games, Obi Bob, you want a Dragonborn wizard? So what? It has a plus in strength and charisma. Have fun. Build a functional Dragonborn wizard because you can do it. It's not that hard to do. And if you're having fun with the character and you're being, intuitive with, your racial abilities or your spells and, you're getting involved in creative storytelling, that's all you need. Congratulations, you've won D&D. All right, so we have this very curious half-orc child, or rather a human child, that I think Civil Hermit put out there, but perhaps the half-orc nature might have come from contact with this entity. Yeah, Obi Bob, this channel is dedicated to helping new folks. It's a D&D 101 workshop. It's a great place to sit and get ideas. And while there are builds that will maybe favor slightly, marginally, Dragonborn more, I don't want you to worry about them. I want you to have a character you're going to have fun playing. A Dragonborn Jedi? Yeah, you could do that. That might be something like, and thank you, Lay Arbor. Or Lee. Some people might pronounce it one or the other. Oh, you came over from Chud Killers, yeah. So yeah, you could reflavor some aspects of magic or swordplay, as training as a Jedi. In fact, I could argue a monk, a Dragonborn monk, could be good for a Jedi. Because you have these inborn powers to you. And especially with something like Deflect Missile or Catch Missile. So you can't catch a magical laser blast. But someone fires an arrow at you, a guard trooper in the town fires a crossbow at you. You can actually catch it and even fling it back. And none of that has anything to do with you being a Dragonborn. So if you think Dragonborn are cool, play the cool race you want to play, and then be a monk if you think that you can cosmetically reflect the sword play or the martial arts or the native skills that a monk has. Lay, you got it right the first time? Very good. I'm glad I was able to, Lay Arbor. Or just Lay if you prefer. Now, while we are mechanically a half-orc, I do like the idea... And thank you for the follow, Obi Bob Kenobi. I do like the idea Civil Hermit put out there that perhaps we were just a human child. And so we could even describe ourselves as such. However, the process of revelation that our young little sage has undergone has changed his body in such a way that he is mechanically a half-orc. Though, cosmetically, flavor-wise, looks mostly human. Of course, a couple little creepy things here and there due to the class, and we're also bleeding that into the race selection. Welcome! Hey, yeah! Well, hopefully I was able to both entertain and answer the question of your spies in a satisfactory manner, Chud Killer. Alright, so our strength score is going up by 2, and our constitution by 1. We already have our age, alignment, size. We have our speed is 30 feet. 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly. We get 60 feet of dark vision, and of course we can explain that transformation from being a human to getting dark vision as, our retinas develop, our reflective layer, all sorts of, it's magic, I don't have to explain anything stuff. I did, I'm glad, Obi Bob. And Chud Killer, that's a great compliment as well, thank you. Because I mean, not that I would treat him any differently if he said, "Hey, Chud Killer," like from the get-go, "Chud Killer sent me over." Anyone who comes here and has questions, they're engaged with respect and friendliness and encouraging ideas to maximize fun and creativity. And the fact then that you referred Obi Bob over here is it's frosting on the already delicious cake. Hey, Phydrogen. It's not necessarily the end. We're right in the middle of this character creation, Phydrogen. We rolled into a multi-class, and the people out there wanted to see a multi-class Lurker Patron Warlock and Aberrant Mind Sorcerer. So that's what we're getting. Menacing, we gain intimidation proficiency. Relentless endurance. Our body has been bolstered. Now, I'm presuming you all have the player's handbook. If not, it's up here for a little bit, but I'm not going to get into the details of everything. Relentless endurance and savage attacks. And we already have our languages of Common and Orc. So there we go. We have this human child who has mutated due to contact with these extraplanar entities, or entity or plural. And his body has sort of like grown and matured quickly and become super tough. So we have like a little magical Hulk going around here. Okay. Now, we need to decide on where we're going to split the multiclass. The multiclass? Between Warlock and Sorcerer. With, at minimum, a tie for each. With us taking Warlock first and Sorcerer second. Or a split between the two to make a level 18 character. So, taking a look here. We do get Mystic Arcanum at 11th level. We do get an ASI at 12th, which would then open us up for 6 levels of Sorcerer if we wanted to do that. Or even if we wanted to keep Mystic Arcanum. We do get an Otherworldly Patron feature at 14, and that would actually be the end. If we did that, that's the end of the Warlock Patron features, which means if we did that, we could actually max out everything that we would get from a Lurker Patron Warlock. And then we'd add on 4 levels of Sorcerer. Your back's starting to hurt, and I've got a lot of work tomorrow, so I'm going to try and go to bed. Thanks for the company. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us, oh sheeps. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Be well. But still, let's take a look at Sorcerer. Sorcerers get metamagic at 10. Well, so that another metamagic, so we wouldn't really get that. So we'd get our 2 metamagics at 3rd and then an ASI. We'd also get a little bit more spell slots. Now, if we go 6th level, if we go 12 and 6, we would get another Sorceress Origin feature. Which would bring us, that would give us Psionic Sorcery and Psychic Defenses. Six and 12 might be a good split. Whoop. And, oh, we would get that 6 Invocation. Alright, so what do you all think? Should we put our capstone on our Warlock and go a level 14 Warlock, splashing in 4 levels of Sorcerer? Or should we go 12 levels of Warlock and splash in 6 levels of Sorcerer for a few more spell slots, and we sacrifice We would be sacrificing our Unleash the Depths capstone ability for psychic defense. Psychic defenses here. And the ability to cast some psionic spells with sorcery points. And if none of that makes sense, do we want a more warlocky multi-class warlock or a more sorcery multi-class warlock? More slots are more fun. Yeah, because you can cast your warlock spells through your sorcery slots. All right, so what we'll split it between 12 and 6. 12 warlock and 6 sorcerer. We're going to build our 12 levels of warlock first, and then we're going to add on 6 layers or 6 levels of sorcerer. So we don't need the Unearthed Arcana yet. When we look here, our class features, and we're doing Warlock first because we were featuring Warlock in this workshop, and so I want to have this multi-class character be predominantly, at least tied, but predominantly Warlock. And so that would be the first one we take. So we have 12 D8 hit die from our 12 levels of Warlock. We are also going to gain simple weapon proficiency and light armor proficiency. No, it's fine, Hark. Honestly, what sounds cool? A lot of D&D is just what I was telling Obi-Bob Kenobi. Go with what sounds cool. Let's not worry about mechanics. Mechanics will work themselves out in the end. No tool proficiencies. Wisdom and charisma are going to be our saving throws. And then we get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, History. Well, we already have Arcana and History. And Intimidation. So we have Investigation, Nature, and Religion. Well, let's see. We have an eye for beauty. What's beautiful points us beyond itself towards what is true. Most people scream and run when they see a demon. I stop and take notes on its anatomy. I'm horribly, horribly awkward in social situations. So if we have someone who likes drawing, we have Arcana and History. Probably Nature? To find natural beauty if we have this sense of beauty to us. I know I mostly roll the major creative way for my characters' backstories and personalities. Oh, you don't... I mean, yeah, I'm not trying to attack you or anything, Hark. I wasn't calling you out. And if I sounded like I was, then I'm sorry and it's my fault. I shouldn't have sounded like that if it sounded like I was. Sound. Nature and religion... Investigation. If we're trying to study anatomy, we need to be able to put clues together. You know, the thigh bone's connected to the hip bone, etc. and so forth. That may sound like medicine, but we're going about it in a different fashion. Alright, now I'm not worried about the starting gear because we're level 18. If we have, if we have something, a light crossbow, hey, congrats. We're carrying that around, but what else might we have that's useful? Now, the arcane focus, I would argue, could be the trinket that we're basing a part of our storytelling for this character around, which is a part of the sage background, as we interpreted it. You know, Scholar's Pack and all this, leather armor. AC is... I mean, are we wearing simple leather armor at level 18? Probably not. Alright, so we are getting our otherworldly patron. Our patron is going to be the Lurker of the Depths, and we're not going to worry about that just yet. Almost. Almost. We are going to get some invocations. We're going to get, at level 2, we're getting 2. And in fact, I'm going to have to reference this right here. Invocations known. We go to 3 at level 5. 5, 7, 9. And 12, we get our 6th. And conveniently, dun, 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 let me make sure. The 5, 7, 9, yeah, and 12. Oh, okay, gotcha. I'm going to take Blade because I'm kind of cramped for space up here. And I'm going to put that Pact of the Blade. This might even play into that special knife. That special knife we have. Or the trinket. What if it's redundant? And it just, again, the story writes itself. You can use your action to create a pact weapon in your empty hand. You can choose the form that this melee weapon takes each time you create it. You are proficient with it while you wield it. This weapon counts as magical for the purpose of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. And there's more rules to it, but you can read about that in the player's handbook. And at 11th level, we are going to get 1 Mystic Arcanum. So we, at level 12, have 3 5th level spell slots. And we are also going to get 1 Mystic Arcanum. Now, I'm not going to put zeros here, because when we multi-class, we're going to get some Sorcerer spell lists that are going to fill in here also. We are going to know some cantrips. In fact, we are going to have 4. So I'm going to put Warlock Cantrip 1, Warlock Cantrip 2, Warlock Cantrip 3, and Warlock Cantrip 4. Because then we're going to have some sorcery cantrips as well. While we're here as well, our spells known, we're not going to define the spells. But at level 1, in fact, this is Warlock level 1. We get 2. Level 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? You see how this creeps up? 8, 9, 10. But we don't get our 11th until level 11. Actually, I'm sorry. We, level 8 to 9. At 10th level, so this is actually level 11 here. There we go. And then we don't get our 12th one until level 13. I might have to go back, and I think I might, on our good Colonel here, I might have given him an extra spell slot. I'd have to go back and double check. Maybe not. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 11. Yeah, because at level 9 we go to 10, and then we go to 11 spells known at level 11. So there we go. Casting off of Charisma for both, and we are both a Warlock and Sorcerer. Okay, we've mostly built our Warlock. We're going to do invocations last because I want to go over what the patron's offering us so that we can make informed decisions about what magic we're going to let influence and become a part of our bodies, as that is a representation of what invocations can be. So, as this lurker in the deep, you made a pact with an entity that lurks somewhere deep in the ocean or even on the elemental plane of water, such as a mighty kraken, an ancient primordial, or a monstrous being from creation's earliest days. You serve as this creature's eyes and ears, watching the world beyond its domain and reporting your findings. You may have gained this pact as a member of a cult dedicated to the entity, or after your patron saved your life when you nearly drowned at sea. So we have an expanded spell list. Remember, as a Warlock, these are not automatically added like Domain spells, Oath spells, or land circle spells for Druids. But we can take these as a spell learned that would normally be on... Well, they're normally not on the Warlock list, but we're treating them as if they are. And so we get an ability called Grasp of the Deep. And Grasp of the Deep is excellent. You summon a tentacle that can strike out 10 feet. And of course, you can the tentacle is within 60 feet of you. I think of it kind of like spiritual weapon for this Warlock. Pardon. So you make a melee spell attack against a creature within 10 feet, cold or lightning damage, and its speed is reduced by 10 feet. Ooh, that's really good. And then, of course, the damage goes up to 2d8, and you can move it. So we get Grasp of the Deep, where we can summon this wibbly-wobbly arm to go do our bidding, in a sense. Phydragen, that's a very good representation. Then we are a Scion of the Deep. At first level, your patron accepts you into its inner court of servitors. You can telepathically communicate with any aberration, beast, elemental, or monstrosity that has an innate swimming speed while it is within 120 feet of you. The creature can understand you and respond telepathically. Aquaman. At 6th level, we gain the Fathomless Soul. Your patron grants you greater abilities. You gain the following benefits. You can breathe both air and water. You gain a swimming speed equal to your walking speed. And you gain resistance to cold damage. So, I'm going to put resistance to cold damage right there. On our character sheet, I'll move it over for you here. Resistance to cold damage. Da-da-da-da. I'm sorry, some of this stuff I'm writing and I was off screen because I wanted to keep the primary reading focused first. So if you ever do need to see the character sheet, let me know, but I want to keep this PDF up predominantly. We also get Guardian Grasp. At 6th level, the tentacle you create with a Grasp of the Deep can defend you and others. When you or a creature you can see takes damage while within 10 feet of the tentacle, you can use your reaction to choose one of those creatures and reduce the damage to the chosen creature by half. After doing so, the tentacle vanishes. Hey, and we have someone who wants to protect his students. So definitely using that tentacle to slap away swords and other things would be a good use. And this is also why I haven't chosen the invocations, because some of these effects would replace an invocation that we may normally take. We're kind of getting specialized invocations just fed to us this way. At 10th level, we get what's called the Devouring Maw. Starting at 10th level, you can magically draw forth a manifestation of your patron's insatiable hunger. As an action, choose a point you can see within 60 feet of you. For 1 minute, a translucent maw manifests in a 10-foot radius, centered on that point. Each creature in that area, when the maw appears, must succeed on a strength saving throw against your spell save DC or be restrained. Any creature that starts its turn in the Maw's area takes 3d6 cold or lightning damage. As an action, a restrained creature can repeat the saving throw, ending the restraint on a success. Pardon me. At the start of your turn, if there's a creature in the Maw's area, you gain temporary hit points equal to your Warlock level. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. Ooh, so good. So good. And as we're flavoring a little bit more on the Sorcerer side, we're not going to get our subclass capstone of Unleash the Depths. But you know what? We're working towards it. Just 2 more Warlock levels. Of course, then we're also a level 20 character by then. So, mwahaha. All right, so now let's pop over to the player's handbook again. And let's consider which invocations this Warlock may want to take then. Now, we have a Blade Lock, and there are some invocations that some people, and I understand if they begrudgingly call it an invocation tax. There's one that lets you strike twice. And there is also, there's one that lets you strike twice. Thirsting Blade. And there's another one, Life Drinker. When you hit a creature with your packed weapon, the creature takes extra necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. And those two can make for a very good, I mean, a melee Warlock. And consider this. We have our primary Warlock as an officer. Now, he ended up with the tome version of this. And as we're talking about a scribe, and even about a party that's made up of people who have been afflicted like this. And afflicted, I don't necessarily mean in a totally negative fashion. What if he is an understudy or a lurker of Ravar here, our old retired colonel, and was taught swordplay? Because Ravar, despite being a soldier, he is the taboo Warlock. He is not taking Eldritch Blast. He did not take the invocation that enhances his Book of Shadows for being a Tome Warlock. And on top of that, oh shoot, what was the third taboo? Oh, the third taboo was we gave him proficiency in intelligence skills, despite intelligence being our dump stat. And by the way, all of those things are absolutely perfectly fine. If you're still listening out there, Obi-Bob Kenobi, just because you run a Blade Warlock doesn't mean you have to take the Blade Invocations or the Tome and the Tome Invocations. This is a good example of a Tome Warlock that is absolutely functional, fun to play, and very colorful, that doesn't succumb to those manipulations. Now, for our little understudy here, who's learning the way of the blade, would he be swinging that blade, I wonder? You know, we can make that packed blade. And of course, as the... Here, let's go back real quick. You know, Grasp of the Deep. We summon that as a bonus action. So really, what we could do is... we swing, tentacle. Swing, tentacle. And so I think we are going to have a heavily blade-focused character, because he wants to step up as this understudy, as someone who's following around this old soldier. So let's be sure to include Thirsting Blade and Life Drinker. Now, we have a little soldier that's growing up here as well. So, Armor of Shadows could be very good also. We are a Sage, and a Scribe especially. And so, Eyes of the Runekeeper, you can read all writing, absolutely fits this character to a T. Eyes of the Runekeeper. Sliso, hello, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Yeah, from Croatia. What would be another invocation for this Warlock? Because you know what? I don't think this character needs Eldritch Blast enhancement or even Eldritch Blast at all. Also, I think that with this interesting spell, that could supplant that as a common go-to. Eldritch Sight. Eldritch Sight is definitely one that we could get as an information gatherer also. There we go. And as well, because we're an investigator, probably Devil Sight is... so Eldritch Sight, Devil Sight, and Eyes of the Runekeeper. Excellent. Now we're going to put Warlock class and Warlock archetype here, because we also have Sorcerer class and Sorcerer archetype. Or subclass, you know, whatever works for you. Now, that we have this Warlock portion built, we're going to add six levels of Sorcerer. To do that, I will refer you to Chapter 6. Technically, multiclassing is an option that I believe most tables accept, though you may run into a DM that says no. To multiclass, you have to meet the prerequisite in your original class and the class into which you're going into. So for Warlock and Sorcerer, it's both Charisma 13. Nice and easy. We're going to have it anyway. Nothing to worry about. Now, the proficiencies, what you see on this table is going to replace... What you see on this table is going to replace what you'd get in that same section in the player's handbook. As a Sorcerer, we get no extra multiclassing proficiencies. Now, what we will do, though, is we will get 4, 3, and 3 for our spell slots. And Warlocks have their own kind of unique thing going on, so it's actually going to look like this. Watch. 4, 3, 3. 0 4th level spell slots. And then 3 5th level spell slots. All right. So knowing that we need at least a 13 charisma, you know, if you need to make a note there, I mean, just 13, right? We're going to go to Sorcerer and add our Sorcerer 6 levels. And so doing, our hit die, I'm going to scoot this over now so you can see what's going on here. We get 6 levels of D6 hit die. So you can see I'm using the other part of this PDF. Now, if Sorcerers were D8, you could technically split them if you wanted to, or you could just have 18 D8 all on the one side. However, here, when you choose to spend hit die to roll during a rest, you choose which pool you're diminishing out of first. Sliso, I hope you've been well and you're having an awesome day. An awesome Friday at that, even. Our proficiencies, remember, those were replaced with nothing out of the multi-class. So no armor or weapons. We are going to get some cantrips, and we are going to get some meta magic. So in fact, at 6 levels of Sorcerer, we are going to have 6 sorcery points. So I'm going to put that down here as a resource. Sorc points. We have 6, and we've used none. We know 5 cantrips. Oh, goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, I mean, we'd have to make room, but I don't know. Just, you could abbreviate this and say that this is Sorcery 1, Sorcery 2, because it does have to be off that list. Sorcery 3, Sorcery 4, and then, you know, whatever, Sorcery 5. Put on a spare sheet, however you're going to do it. But this is how you're going to see things. when you multi-class, especially if you get thrown like a wizard or something, oof, all your spells are everywhere. In a good way. I don't want to discourage you from doing that. But we're going to know 5 sorcery cantrips. And then we're going to have 7 spells known. And these are sorcery spells. So over here, as you can see, spells known at first level is 2. Then we go 3, 4, etc. So now we have sorcery level 1. Level 2. Level 3, 4, 5, and 6. There we go. And of course you choose that off of the sorcery spell list. And we can upcast sorcery through our 5th level if we desire. But notice that, you know, our sorcery isn't high enough to provide, you know, 4th level, access to 4th level spells or 5th level spells as a sorcerer. But we can upcast through our sorcery spell slots. Now we come up here in our sorcerer class, and if we are going to get Font of Magic, which allows us to manipulate magic with our sorcery points. And we're going to get meta magic. We're going to get 2 meta magic. They're not feats any longer. This is in 3rd edition. But given his personality, if we're going to manipulate spells, Um... What's our personality here? Horribly awkward. Use polysyllabic words. What's beautiful points us beyond itself to what's true. It is my duty to protect my students, and most people scream and run when they see a demon. I stop and take notes on its anatomy. I think the protection is a big key, and so careful spell would be a big one, and extended spell. When you cast a spell that has a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double its duration to a maximum of 24. Oh, hey, no, thanks for coming over and bringing Obi-Bob Kenobi over too, Chud Killer. You guys are always welcome, whether you're coming in clandestine or overtly. You know, if we're doing things like casting our mage armor, or if we need to extend the duration of other things, then I think to last as long as we can, for sure, not an empowered, an extended spell would be useful. And there we go. That's what we get for being a sorcerer. Now, we are 6 levels, and of course that means we're going to dip a little bit into the Aberrant Mind. Demon Knight, hello! It is going very well. We're finishing up our second Unearthed Arcana character from the new subclasses for Sorcerer and Warlock. So we are going to get some extra spells here that we can add. And so these are our Psionic Spells. We are having all of the spells, everyone, despite the interesting mix. Now, these Psionic Spells do act as oath spells and such, in that they don't count against the number of spells you know as a sorcerer. They still do consume your slots, but these don't count against the spells, so these are bonus spells. And so we come over here, and we are adding Arms of Hadar, Dissonant Whispers, Calm Emotions, Detect Thoughts, Hunger of Hadar, and Sending. So, boom, extra spells right out the gate. Look at how much magic this little kid is wielding. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. We rolled the 10% chance to make a multi-class character, and chat wanted to see what happened when we pineapple pen the 2 Unearthed Arcanas together, and it's an amazing mix. So we are a warped being. Starting at first level, your Aberrant origin protects you from harm. Your body might have a coating of viscous slime, tough hide, scales, or an invisible psionic barrier. Whatever form the protection takes, your AC equals 13. Oh, you know what? The warped being will end up replacing Armor of Shadows, actually. Because this is mage armor, effectively. So we can come back and choose another invocation. Because we have this, like, astral or magical or slime shield, depending on how we want to flavor our person. Oh, excellent! Which characters have you been working on? Can you provide a synopsis or talk about, like, oh, this is really cool, I rolled into this, or I thought about this, or something along those lines? We also have Psionic Sorcery at level 6. In fact, I believe, and Psychic Defenses. So yes, we have that Psionic Sorcery, where we can cast our Psionic spells with Sorcerer points instead of spell slots, meaning we're getting even a little extra castier because of this. Now, if we had rolled Tome for this and we get Ritual casting also, ooh, this character would be just steeped in magic and not be a wizard too. And lastly, Psychic Defenses. At 6th level, you gain resistance to psychic damage and have advantages on saving throws against being charmed or frightened. So versus Charmed, Frightened. And in addition to being resistant to cold, we are resistant to psychic damage. So you can see that I filled that in over here too. And we only have the 6 levels, so we do not get Revelations in Flesh, though this is really neat. Alright, so it's 43303 for our spell slots. 43303. Cantrips, we have so many, I'm not going to worry about putting them on the front page. Alright, we have the chassis of our character, and now it's time to drop the Hemi into him. And absolutely empower this character that we've made. So, of course, we know we need a minimum of 13 in order to multi-class at some point along the build. We're definitely going to have it because both of these characters require charisma. And I think this kid is going to have charisma in spades here. We're very intelligent. What is beautiful points us what's true. It's my duty to protect my students. Most people scream and run when they see a demon. I stop and take notes on its anatomy. I'm horribly awkward in social situations, and I use polysyllabic words to convey the impression of great erudition. Have a good night. Yeah, Refry, thanks for hanging out with us. Gunsmith and Druid for land, Druid of the land, or Gunsmith plus Scout for a Super Sniper. What is is Gunsmith the critical role special one? Let's see. So we have a little kid who's kind of been, his body's been warped. Through all of this magic and everything he's been exposed to. So I think going... You know, this is going to be a little wacky. I'm going to put 8 in his constitution. Especially because he has that half-orc... focus sash from Pokemon, effectively, which is Relentless Endurance. Maybe his body's just been warped, and it's not healthy. So he has trouble in that regard. So we have our 8, and we have our 15. Let's put our 14 in Dex. Are 13 in strength, 12 in intelligence, and 10 in wisdom. Because he's much more book smart. I mean, I could even make the case that maybe 8 could still fit into wisdom. Because he is not really wise to the world at all. He's very socially awkward. And, you know, reading stuff, yeah, it's not really perception checks, because, I mean, I could read what's in front of me. I'm not making checks for that. I'm awkward in social situations, polysyllabic words. I look for what's beautiful, and, of course, I mean, beautiful is what you think it is. You know what, so maybe we'll swap that. Maybe Constitution is 10, and Wisdom is 8. That might be more thematic. I think having a 12 intelligence is solid. We probably don't need to mess around with that because we do have a lot of our specialty studying in this as well. Whereas he needs to be more generally applicable in a couple other areas. It's an Artificer Gunslinger. Oh, wait, Artificer Gunslinger archetype, a homemade. Oh, okay. So someone took the Unearthed Arcana Artificer and made a homebrew gunslinger. Because I know there was a shooty Artificer that was put out, I think, in the second Artificer Unearthed Arcana. Yeah, Orc, we're going late. We've had an amazing night tonight. All right, so if we do this, our strength is 15. Our constitution is 11. And there we go. We can get rid of this, and he has earned a name for himself. So if you think of a name for this interesting character, you're welcome to offer it in chat. Okay, so it's that. It is the Unearthed Arcana one. And if I'm misunderstanding, please correct me, because it's 5 a.m. We get, well, let's see. From Warlock, we get 4, 8, and 12, and then we have over 4 levels in Sorcery, so we get 8 points to throw in here. And so I think going 1 into Charisma, 1 into Strength, and let's bring up Constitution. Why not? There's 3. Now, as general advice, if you are ever faced, with a stray point in something, I mean, feats can round it up, but if you ever need to throw it into something, throw it into Strength. And the reason for that is you actually get mechanical benefits from your Strength score increasing by 1, even if your Strength modifier does not, because that affects how much you can push, pull, drag, lift, carry, etc., etc. Yeah, if you want to link it, you're welcome to, Demon Knight. Thank you. So that's 4 of our 8. We should probably, I don't know if we should we max out our Charisma? No, let's put Charisma to 18. I feel solid on that. And I think we're going to bring up our Dexterity to 16, because now we can use a lot of different weapons. Yes, we're trained in simple, mundane weapons, but our pact weapon, we're always proficient no matter what. And we can wield a greatsword as equally as a dagger in this regard. We rolled a half-orc race, Slaso. Half-orc, and we went Sorcerer 6, Warlock 12. This is going to give us 3 strength, 3 dex, 1 con, 1 int, -1 wisdom, and a 4 charisma. So I'm just transferring the numbers over. Intelligence is 1 saving throw, 1 religion. Oh, by the way, I'm sorry, at level 18 we have a +6 proficiency bonus. Sorry about that. 7's down the line here. Now, our wisdom saving throw, wisdom's not the best, but again, we're not the wisest. We're a kid. It's okay to play a caster that can succumb to magic, you know? It makes for interesting role-playing and storytelling. And then everything else that is wisdom, again, we're socially awkward. We're also a 9-year-old kid. It's fine to have a low wisdom. It's not our forte. I mean, at least we're proficient in the wisdom saving throw, so, I mean, having a positive number is good. And for charisma, we are at 10 for a saving throw, 10 for intimidation, and then 4 for the others. Yeah, so we have this 9-year-old half-orc boy who we're saying was a human child, and through exposure to this great foreign power from either or both the Aberrant mind, sorcerer, whatever power imbued that person, or the Lurker and the deep otherworldly patron. Both of these are the new Unearthed Arcana subclasses that are being playtested. Yeah, and Slaso, exactly. It could be the voices from the patron that are distracting him, too. Absolutely. But so we're saying that his body mutated, and mechanically he's a half-orc. But we're saying that this human child kind of took on a different look. Maybe it changed the color of his skin, grew sharper teeth. And so he's not, he's a human kid. He considers himself human, but he's changed. And so the physical mutations are mechanically represented by being a half-orc without his parents needing to be an orc and mostly a human, but it could be, I don't know, an elf. Who knows? What is the other half? You could have it be whatever you want. So our passive perception is 9. We're not very keen on what's happening around us. Our armor class is interesting because if we're not wearing armor, which we're probably not, we actually have a nice solid 16. Well, hey, it's compelling storytelling, isn't it, Slaso? It would be interesting to put yourself in the position of this kid. And I'll tell you, you say the poor kid. Oh my gosh, all of the power and the knowledge. This kid is a conduit. Maybe he's even like this. With the party we're building, this kid might even be like the crossover. Like the thing that is bringing these otherworldly entities together. And is sort of like the promised child or something along those lines. We'll see when we get to building a party. Our initiative is a +3 because that is a dexterity check. Our hit points. At level 1, you get your maximum level, or you get your maximum number of hit points. As we were a warlock first, we're getting 8. So 8 plus our remaining 11 levels in warlock at half +1. Right? Half of 8 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Then from our sorcerer, all 6 levels, we're getting half +1. You do not get the maximum first level hit points if you multiclass from your first level in whatever your next class is. Or just remember that. So we have 6 times 4. And then for all of our levels, all 18 of them, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier, which is 1. So here's our fun little formula for calculating hit points. We have 18. We have 24. Whoops, that's a 5. 24. We have 55. And so if we come over here, that's 32. This is 42. This is 97. Plus 8. We have 105 hit points. At level 18. Kind of like the Avatar. There you go. Hey, Lasaria. Good morning. Now, if we're attacking with a melee weapon, and a knife is an interesting example, because knives can be used off of strength or dex because it's a finesse weapon, it's going to be the same in this case, which is going to be a +9. Now, if we're attacking off of our charisma, our spell attack for either Warlock or Sorcerer, because they're both charisma-based, is going to be at a +10. And to resist the effects of our spells is an 18. And so we can carry this down onto our spell page. 18 to resist, +10 to hit. And of course we have sorcery points that we can do a lot of stuff with this combo. We have 6 of them because we are a level 6 sorcerer. Funny how that works. Now there are just a couple little things to do left. We have to go back and replace our redundant invocation. Because we already have that natural magical armor. I know it sounds oxymoronic. We're talking about someone who sees a lot, who loves looking. And you know what? Gaze of Two Minds might work very well. You can use your action to touch a willing humanoid and perceive through its senses until the end of your next turn. As long as the creature is on the same plane of existence as you, you can use your action or subsequent turns to maintain this connection, extending the duration until the end of your next turn. While perceiving through the other creature's senses, you benefit from any special senses possessed by that creature, and you are blinded and deafened to your own surroundings. Either that or maybe the disguised self. Because he does appear to be a lot gnarlier than a human kid would. I forgot to put Psionic defenses down on the bottom, so I had to type that in. What's his reputation? Not his reputation, his personality. Horribly awkward. I use polysyllabic words that convey the impression of great erudition. Smarty pants. Horribly awkward. Yeah, so we might make ourselves look like someone else. Beauty, what is beautiful, points us beyond towards what is true. Also, he doesn't wear armor, and it is a savage attacker. I think, you know what? I think the Mask of 1,000 Faces, or Mask of Many Faces, is going to be good for him. Because he doesn't want people to recognize him, or if he does need to sneak up and attack, then he can do so. Where he ignores darkness, yeah, we gave him Devil Sight. I'm getting ready to play in a game with some friends from Twitch in the next few weeks. And didn't really have a character in mind. Now I want to be the avatar. Maybe he was outcast by other kids, started using disguised self to look normal. Oh, he was definitely outcast. Even by becoming this warlock, that for sure is gonna get you disinvited from playing hopscotch on the playground. Plus, he's a smarty pants kid who went to like a muckety muck upper tier, like a special school. And he's been on a path through life. My goodness. Like, having this character be made, watching him, come out into the world from the mists of creation has been amazing. Oh, you know what? I have to roll one more thing. And possibly this is a key that led him into being possessed by an eldritch being. And that thing is, what is his trinket? What is this artifact that as a sage he has been researching that was either sent to him, given to him, or he stumbled across that has partially led him down this path? The other characters we've generated have trinkets, and they've been absolutely a part of their character. Let's roll percentile. We rolled a 100. Trinket 100. A metal urn containing the ashes of a hero. Talk about a roleplay prompt. And even one that could be, you were talking about whispers before. What if this hero might have been a hero representing the patron, or could be the source of the a source of the sorcerer's powers, much like the griffin grease was the source of the sorcerer's powers for our sailor. Hark, it writes itself. It absolutely does. Iwi. A metal urn containing the ashes of a hero. And this could also be his spellcasting focus. In fact, I would almost insist on it. You have this mentor, you have this thing that is, calling. Maybe the metal urn needs to be returned home or released. Maybe everyone thinks that inside are the ashes of a hero. But if anyone ever opened it up to take a look inside, it might be a little bit more. Could be a very powerful psionic goldfish that once belonged to a beholder. Nah. But yay? But nay. Or perhaps? Oh, I love character creation. Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so good, everyone. Of course. A particular goldfish is very much a lurker in the deep, who's been exposed to untold quantities of magic and knowledge and lore and experimentation. And Silgar, of course, is that goldfish. Of course, we're also talking that the lady in the lake of Arthurian legend can also be a lurker in the depths, too. The urn could be sealed, never opened, maybe in some magical cursed ash that's slowly getting more corrupt, or simply rotting away. Yeah, and so the seal must be restored. It's a very compelling story quest. Or storyline, or plotline. It's 5:15 a.m. Pardon me. Oh gosh, y'all. This has been such a fun night. All right, it is time, I believe, for all you lovely people out there. Yeah, unless Orc is catching on to the meme. Just not in that way, but referencing the meme. He needs a name, absolutely. It is time to pack up and let's raid another channel and give them energy and hype and creativity. We have not raided Own Dog Games in a while. He is currently he does an amazing wrestling announcing bit for his channel. Yeah, no problem, Obi Bob. You're always welcome here, and especially we have a mentor station on our Discord, so you can receive help there too if you need it. So he's running WWE 2K19, does an amazing job of announcing, and you can have a character made on his channel and like wrestle in his league. A lot of fun, very personable, and he is a D&D nerd just like us. Now he primarily plays 3rd edition, but recently he started a 5th edition campaign. And so he can talk about it. In fact, maybe he'll even ask you a question if he needs clarification on something. But he can talk D&D and he can talk wrestling. Yeah, in fact, here, Slaso, you said cheers, and so a cheers to you back. Yeah, please do, Slaso. We're here on our Discord or on our channel to help out with that energy, right? So /raid Own Dog Games. I'm gonna see y'all over there. I have an appointment with a pillow. All right. I'm going to head over, make sure I'm not caught in ad purgatory by the time that I pull that raid button, or I push the raid button.
What is up, my bandit legion?
Oh, there's a commercial for Borderlands. I'll mute that for a second. A lot of people are playing Borderlands, as you can imagine. Sharpens his raiding axe. That's the spirit. Hark, you want to name him DeFysch? All right, everyone. It looks like I'm through ad purgatory. I'm gonna send us on a raid. Let's give Own Dog and his community some Matty Morg's love and fury and inspiration. Heck yeah. Peace to you.